Welcome at tonight's live stream. My name is Andre. We're going to look into Mateus Asato's arrangement for Nothing Is Going to Change My Love for You. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the tune for you, and then we'll start to dissect it piece by piece. So it starts out like this. Right? That's basically the first phrase. Now what's really cool is that the first chord that you play is kind of a D. Then it goes to A over C sharp. And then it goes to B minor. Right? But he does it with very little effort. So you have the melody, which starts on the third, which is an 11 on G. So you have G11, hammer on 12, and then you slide up to 14, which is the fifth of the chord, and you play the D string. So, right? Slide back to the third here, and then you play B10 there. So you got... But the cool part is that the only thing that's really creating the harmony here is the melody itself. So he has the bass note here, and then you have the melody note basically creating different kinds of harmony with the bass note there. So on the G, 11, hammer on 12, then you slide up to 14 and you play the D string. Slide down to 11 again, and then your index finger plays, what is it? B10, and then you play the D string again. Play that G string once more, and then we switch chords. So this is where we switch to that A over C sharp, which is just your first inversion. So you have your middle finger on B10, index finger on G9, and thumb on E9. And here what you use, let me show you a close-up here. What you use here is hybrid picking, right? So hybrid picking means you use a combination of picking with a pick and picking with your fingers. So your pick is playing the bass, and then middle finger plays the G, and ring finger plays the B, like that. Like that. Okay? So let's go back to this here. So we play that A over C sharp. Then we play the melody again. So that is ring finger G11 to middle finger B10. And then what we do is we sustain that note and we slide up to 15, to 17, and then back to 15. So we get this. Like that. Now it's important when you do that slide up and down, so there is no picking in between anymore. What's really important to make that slide work is to have a very delicate balance between having enough pressure on the string, but not too much so it starts to inhibit sliding up and down the neck. So it's really handy to kind of experiment with that a little bit. Anyways, yeah, let's move on. So we have that A over C sharp. And then here we go into this, which is a spread triad, a B minor spread triad. So we have middle finger on B15, ring finger on D16, and index finger on A14. Okay, so you play that. Then you play the D string once more. Okay, so. Okay, so then what you do is you place your index finger on 14th of D, G, and B, and then you just sort of play a rake here, like that. So A, D, G, B, middle finger on B15, and make a pull-up. And then you play the G string. Okay? Now, the only thing that you're playing there is just a normal A chord, right? But all the way up here. Isn't it funny that with just very little means, he already creates so much? So then you get this little riff. Right? So what does he do? So this is, I'm kind of guessing sort of like a version of G. And what he does is he has his middle finger on A10, index finger on D and G9. Right, this. So that would be like a G6, G major 6, or maybe even like E minor with G in the bass. But let's just keep it at G major 6. And then he makes a hammer-on with his ring finger on 11 of G. Right? Then you have middle finger on G10, pulling off to G9. And then pinky to D12. So... And this one here, the middle finger on 10 on G, is just a chromatic note. It's one of those typical half-step chromaticisms of Mateus Asato. Then you have your pinky on D12 at your index finger on A10 and your middle finger on B10. And you play A, B, D, E in strings. Right? Then place your index finger in 9. Keep your pinky and middle finger in place. Index finger goes in 9, barring those strings. And then you play. So that is A, B, G, D. Right? What you're playing there, I would kind of guess that would be like a D sus2 or a D add 9, that would be, right? So we have the third, the root, the 9, and the 5th, right? So we have starting on the G chord. Then we get this little bit. So what you do here is you're playing index finger on B8, middle finger on D9, and hybrid picking, of course, playing E string, D string, and B string. And the only thing you're playing here is just a simple E minor triad. And that's it. Nothing special. Pinky on B10. Slide up to 12. Then slide into G11. And I believe it was hammer-on, pull-off. Let me just play that again. Yeah. So slide into G11, play G12, pull off to 11, and then you go to G9. Oh man, there's so many numbers. I'm getting confused here. I'm so used to talking, what is it? Note names. So you play A and G9, and this, right? So that is middle finger, D10, pull up to D9, and then ring finger, A12, right? So, and I believe that even though that would be like, this is like the minor third, I think this would still be like an A major chord, but this is again one of those Mateus Asato chromatic tricks. So again, so that E minor chord, right? And that concludes the first verse. So let me play for you for that from the start. So we get. Comes A, G, D, E minor, and that was A, right? So then we get a repeat of the verse, and a lot of the things that we do here are the same. So it's not that he's reinventing it. There are just a few small variations to the theme. And the first variation is actually at the start of his second verse. So let's have a look at that. So he starts the second verse like this. So everything there was the same. Instead of this, the start of it. So he's playing, so you have ring finger on G11, and you play D and G together, and you make a grace note slide from 11 to 14. So slide down to 11, and then you play B10 along with it. And then you sort of go into the rest of it, right, which is the same. Then we go to the A chord, still the same. Until there, it's the same, but now what you get, instead of doing this bit, you do the slide up and down bit. So let me play that for you. So you get, oh, sorry. Again. For whatever reason, I'm not able to do that right now. I'm going to try again. I'm just going to stick to it. Here we go. Oh my goodness. There you go. That's it. Let's see. So what do you do? So the first bit is the same. But now from B10, you slide up to 12 and back down to 10. So, right? So, then you create that same chord as what you would before. So that D add 9 with F sharp in the bass. So that is index finger flat in 9. Pinky is on D12 and middle finger is on B10. And you play A, D, G, and then open E. Then middle finger placed on G10, play it, pull off, and then you play the D. So, like that. And then you finish the way you would normally. Now we've landed on that A chord. Now you drag this note down to second, add your thumb on 2nd of E and play those together, right? So right? So now we land sort of in what you might see as the build up to the chorus, the pre-chorus, and that kind of goes like this. So So what do? So this starts with a G chord. So you have your thumb fretting the G in 3rd position of your E string. Ring finger is fretting 4th on G. And I believe you play E, D, and G string. Then index finger is on B2. And then you hammer on with your middle finger on 3rd of that B string. So I'm kind of confused here. Hold on. Oh, wait a second. I don't know what's going on here. For whatever reason, my I just hit one button, and all of a sudden, like my whole system just sort of went into sleep mode. I'm not really sure what happened there, but I have to quickly check my notes because I'm wondering if I'm making a mistake here, and I don't want to set you up with the wrong thing. So let's see. So oh, that was it. Yeah. Right. Now I got it. Yeah. So for whatever reason, I don't know. I kind of missed it. So, but I got it now. So let's switch to this view here. So let me do that again. So you start with your thumb on E3, ring finger on G4, and you play those together. Index finger on B2, and then you make a hammer on with your middle finger in 3. So then you play E string, open high E string, like that. So then you switch to D over F sharp. So your middle finger stays, index finger goes to G2, and thumb goes to E2. And there you play the following thing. So you play B string, E string, D string, G string. Like that. Okay, so then we go here. So what you do is you have your index finger on G5, pinky on B8, and you kind of just play D, G, and B like that with a rake. Put your pinky on 7 and then slide back up to 8. So like this. And then you add in, because my index finger is barring here, 5th of that E string. So okay, then we get this bit. So what you do is you have your index finger barring D, G, and B in 5th, ring finger in 7th of G, you rake D, G, and B, and then your pinky makes a hammer-on in 7. So then with that pinky, we make a grace note slide to 5th. Pull off to 1st to index finger, right? And then add the thumb, I think. Yes. And then middle finger plays 4th on D. So, right? Then you get the following bit. So what do we have here? So essentially this would be your E minor section. So we have ring finger and middle finger on 5th and 4th, D and G. Hey, Jeffrey, awesome to see you. I was kind of getting a little sweaty here that what is it? That the comment section was going to be empty all night. So we play E, D, and G. Then index finger is added in 2nd, and you slide it up to 3rd. Then you play a normal open G, which gives you the chance to sort of move up the neck of the guitar. And there we play what seems to be like an F sharp minor 7 at first. So index finger is barring at least D and G in 7th. Pinky is on 9th on G, and ring finger is on 9th of A. You do a rake, then pinky makes one of those typical Asato slide up and downs a half step, and then you make a pull off. So you get, and then you play the D string, right? So then we get this bit, which is just diatonic triads going up the neck of the guitar. So this is your basically your G major triad, right? Then your A major triad to your B minor triad, right? So they're basically this portion of your E-shaped chord and this also, but then minor, right? Then you add your pinky on 10th of your A string. And for whatever reason, I'm missing the rest of it. I can hear it in my brain. Let me check my notes here quickly. Oh, no. This is happening again. Oh, my brain. I've been teaching for not 12 hours, but I've been teaching for a long time. It's been a really long day. So for whatever reason, oh, wait a second. I'm just confusing two different parts. That's what it is. Okay, so hold on. So the bit that's coming now is you have this. That's what you get, right? And then, which is a very Asato-like thing to play. So what you do here is basically you play an A5 chord here. Let me switch views here. So index finger is on D7, pinky is on G9, and then you do a rake A, D, and G, and then you make a pinky slide towards 11. It's quite a stretch for some of you maybe, but that's what is done. Then you get this lick. So with your pinky, you slide from 11 to 9, and then pull off to 7, slide up to 9, then middle finger goes to B10, ring finger E10, and then pull off, hammer on pull off with 9. So like this. Right? sorry. So back to middle finger, B10, index finger, G9, slide to 7, slide to 6, and then bent. And then you go to middle finger, D7. Hey, Ty. Good to see you here. That's awesome. So you didn't fall asleep on the couch after all. At least I think that's what you said during our lesson today, that you might fall asleep on the couch. But maybe I forgot or misunderstood. Anyways, so this bit. And then we land into the chorus. So before I play the chorus, for those who need it, on my Patreon page, there's the tablature ready to go because it's a lot to take in or to learn just from a tutorial, but it is there. So what we did so far. So let me play you the pre-chorus one time. Right? And then we land into the nothing's gonna change my love for you too. Anyways. And that goes like this. So what do you do there? So also here, as with the start of the verse, the harmony part is really minimalistic. It's just the bass note, and it's kind of the melody note that is creating the harmony here. So you have your index finger on G9, you play D and G, and then you make a hammer on G11. Then you play D, D, G. And then when you've played that G string the last time, you drag it down. And then when it hits 4, you just make a pull off to second. Point your finger like this. Then you put your thumb on E3. Then you make a hammer on with your ring finger in 4, and you play it again like this. So. Like that. And then, of course, the harmony that you get from that is just like the root note and the third, which is, it's pretty cool. Then you get this part. So what you have is you have your open A, index finger on D and G in 7th, right? Hammer on with your ring finger in 9. Then you play open E, open A, and then slide from your index finger from 7 to 9. So I think that's a really cool way to play it. Just it's I don't know, it creates space, but at the same time you're hitting the notes that you need. Then middle finger, A10. And then we go to this chord, which is an E flat 7 flat 9. So for those of you who are interested, so an E7 flat 9 chord, an E7 chord is basically an E triad with a minor 7th. So that would be the note D. And then the flat 9. So remember that the octave, note number 8 is your root note because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So this case, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then the 9th note is basically your second note. So it's an F, but but then a half step up. Right? Did I say it was E? Sorry, it's F sharp flat 9, 7 flat 9. Right? So it's an F 7 chord, but with a G added on top of it. So how did I get here? Oh yeah, so we have A10, then we get F sharp 7, so that index finger on D, G, and B. Sorry about that. D, G, and B in 8th. Ring finger is in 9th of the G, and middle finger is in 9th of the A string. Right, so we have this. Then you play this bit, which is sort of E augmented. So that is index finger flat on G and B in 7th, and middle finger is in 8th. And you slide into these two notes. Okay, so. Then you make a grace note slide with your pinky from G10 to G9. Pull off to G7. So, and then we get, I think, what is my favorite part of the whole arrangement. Don't ask me why, but it just is. It's this. But it's this when he goes to the B minor. It's just magical. So once you've played this bit, your index finger is there on a G7. You add your thumb on E7. You play it. Ring finger plays A9. Then you play that G7. You slide that index finger a half step down, and you play the open A with it. So then middle finger, G7, pinky 9, and you slide it up to 11. So then we have, what is it? Index finger on D and G in 9th, and ring finger in 11th, and you play A and D together, play G, and then we get, so that is pinky on G7, index finger on D5, and ring finger on A7. You play E, A, D, G, slide to 9, slide up a half step, slide down a half step. So pull off to 7, play open A, index finger now in G4, hammer on to 6, and then a half step, pull off, back to 4, to ring finger D7. So from here, all right, let's go on to the next bit. I'm going to play it first, slowly, a little bit for myself, so I know what I'm getting myself into. Let's see. Right, that bit. Okay. Yeah, so I think I got it. So let's see how this all comes together. So it starts the same as the chorus that we did, right? So it just, you do the same thing. Right? But now comes the change. So we had, you play the D string, Then you slide into G11, right? So you slide into G11, pull off to 9, slide down to 7, and then pinky plays 11 again, right? Then we get this bit again. And now we get another change. So what you do is, again, my computer is going to sleep. I wonder why that is. I'm using it. Maybe it's because this thing isn't active. That might be it. So what you do now is, again, you have that F sharp 7 chord here. So you play middle finger A9, D8, and then middle finger or ring fingers, kind of depending on your preference. Maybe middle finger is better. To G9, and you bend it. So, right? So you have like this bend, slow bend on G9. Then you go to index finger B7, and then a full tone bend with ring finger and middle finger on 10th of B. Right? Then you kind of put your ring finger there onto the G string and let it come down. Slide up, down a half step. So you go. And then to index finger 7th, right? So and to be fair, when I was listening to the recording there, that was the only bit that was really hard to hear, even though it was just guitar. But yeah, that was a tricky one to hear. So then we get again that bit with our B minor chord. This bit. So now we get this. So that's slightly different. So when you've landed with your pinky on G11, you add your ring finger on A11, index finger on D and G and 9, right? You play D and A, play the G, and you make a pull-off, right? A and D again, like that. And then we get the, that's right. So what you do is you basically grab like an E sus2. So index finger is B9, pinky B7, G9, and D9. So you play E, D, G, B. Then here, index finger B8, middle finger G9. Slide up a whole step. Ring finger hammer on G, and then add your pointer finger on 10th of E. So like this. And then we land in this chord. So that is pointer finger D7, ring finger G9, middle finger B8, and pinky on E10. And you just rake it like that, right? So we have like that. Let's see. Quick aside here. Yeah, so Jeffrey, you like this way, but the new way sounds interesting. Okay. And yeah, Ty, that's a good idea to just try for a couple of sessions and then see how people feel about it. Yeah. Yeah, I would probably, if I'm going to do this, the no sound tutorial, I'm not going to do it as a live stream. I'm just going to post a video of me doing that. Maybe I'll record one this weekend, maybe on this tune, and just see how people like it. But yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Just try for a couple of weeks and then see what happens. And then we'll see what we can do for the for the live stream, because that is important too, of course. Okay, so on with the tutorial. So we've landed here, and now we get, of course I said at the beginning of the video, like there's none of that virtuoso stuff in here, but there is, of course, a little bit, but it's very minimal. So that's this. And of course, he plays it a lot faster than that. But so what do you do? So we're in 7th position. So that is our starting point. Index finger on E7, hammer on 9, like that. And then you play this. So middle finger, half tone pull off towards index finger. Then pinky, 10 on B, index finger 7. So then you play this. So that is ring finger on G9, and you do semitone pull bend, normal to index finger 7. So then we get the next bit. So that's a slide to 6, ring finger. Well, let me play it for you first. It's very boomy, isn't it? Let me do this. Maybe that'll help. So we have index finger on G6, ring finger D9, pull off to 7 to A9, pull off to 7. Sorry. Not a pull off, you slide to 7, sorry. Then we have that typical Asato slide up and down. So then, so we got a pull off to A7, ring finger, A5, sorry. Then ring finger E7, pull off to 5, right? So then index finger on the A string. I'm playing a D. Oh, my brain is really fried. Index finger on 5, hammer on 7, and then slide up to 9. So, and then you slide into 7 with your index finger like this. So, and then you drag down to open A. Okay, so from the start of that whole lick thing, and then we get this bit. So how do you play that? Well, what we have here is D5. And so we have index finger on G14, middle finger B15, and pinky on E17, sorry. And you just play one by one, so arpeggiate it, right? Then with your index finger from 10 to 12, B and E, you play, right? A slide up. Then put your middle finger on E13, you add it, you play it and make a grace note pull off. Slide down 10 to 7. So, sorry. Then pinky B10 and ring finger G9 to index finger B and G in 7. So, then ring finger on D and G in 9. And then half step up, grace note slide, half step down. And then index finger D and G in 7. Right? So. Then ring finger slides from 9 to 7 on A. Then you add you play your index finger on 5. And then we get 3 harmonics. So that you do that with your pinky. So you just hover it gently in 7th position. You play the D, then the B, and then the G. Right? So oh yeah, like that. And then add some vibrato. And then everything is good in the world. Wow. I made it. All right. Have a good night. Bye.